Well, welcome to Aliyah 2 of Parsha Lech Lecha. This is Genesis 12:14 to 13:4. And what we learn here is about Abram and Sarai going down to Egypt, and Pharaoh is very struck by her beauty. Abram tells Sarai, say that you're my sister because they'll kill me to take you away from me. And when Pharaoh finds out that Sarai is actually married, he gives her back and gives a whole bunch of wealth to Abram. Some cultural points that we'll touch on is Abram was actually, he would be called an emir, the head of a large tribe in the Near East. They were respected and honored by kings and princes and other rulers as they traveled with their tribe. Abram, when he arrived in Egypt, he paid his respects to Pharaoh and the royal court. He was the head of a large tribe. He was considered an honored emir. Abram and Sarai would have visited the Pharaoh by his invitation. They would have been invited to live in one of his palaces while they were there. Now, in the Near East, having a beautiful wife was not safe. It was custom for a husband to be murdered in order for his wife to be taken by another man. Think about the story of David who took Bathsheba. So, Sarai was a Chaldean woman. They were known to be very fair-skinned, very beautiful. Abram knew that he would be killed if Pharaoh's officials discovered that Sarai was his wife. Therefore, he asked her to say, "You're my sister," which she was his half-sister, so it's partially true. A plague strikes Egypt. Pharaoh was determined to figure out what happened. And in those days, people thought their God were punishing them for the events that were occurring. Pharaoh might have questioned Sarah since the plague started after he took her as wife. She probably revealed the entire matter to him, and that would account for why Pharaoh told Abram, leave Egypt, get out, because Egyptians did have a moral code and they were afraid of punishment from their gods if they were doing anything wrong. Taking another man's wife was considered wrong even in Egypt in those days. If you go in and purchase the book that describes quite a bit more, there are different questions in there for you. I put a topology of Canaan in there. Let me mention the spiritual awareness, because that's the real important things of the Parsha, beside understanding what's going on. Abram had wealth before he got to Egypt. When he left Egypt, Pharaoh gave him a large amount of gold, silver, animals, and servants. Abram was the head of a large tribe with wealth. Thus, nothing really could negatively affect him. But Abram still relied upon the Lord and did whatever the Lord expected of him. From this story, the spiritual awareness, that is, if one comes into wealth, one must always remember where they started. It is through the direction of the Shekinah that the Lord directs a person to prosperity. Today, too many people believe that everything they achieve was on their own abilities. Now, a person's ability to achieve is granted by the Lord, and it's important to remain thankful to the Lord for all things. There are a bunch of midrash stories I put in the book, also references to other midrash, a bunch of legends, which you'll find kind of interesting, and how did Abram sneak Sarai across the border and how she got discovered. So thinking about it overall, there's there's things we can look at from this story that actually is seen in today's world or have been seen in the world. Bear in mind that the Shekinah protected Abram and Sarah even when they went into Egypt. The Shekinah can also be called Holy Spirit by some today. Remember that Abram never violated God's law, and that's the important thing. So God bless you for listening to this video. Again, a lot more in the book. I hope you take a look at it. And as always, shalom.